Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another episode of Rendezvous with Anza Saqib on CxO Global TV. CxO Global Forum is not just a knowledge-sharing platform, but a league of extraordinary thought leaders who are not only domain experts, but those key individuals that are affecting a lot of policy changes throughout the world. Today as well, we've got a very special gentleman with us. His name is Mr. Hammad Rasool. And he's joining us from Enum Digital, and he's the co-founder and director here. So welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, and good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you very much, sir. So let's start by rewinding a little and talking about where your professional journey began and what led you to here.
Okay, firstly, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here. So I actually hold a bachelor's degree in computer science. And it was during my university days that I joined a very dynamic team, and we created the then portal of the largest portal of Pakistan, which is apnakarachi.com. Subsequently, after doing my bachelor's, because the software industry was not very stable at that point of time, so I started my career with the bank, which was Bank Alpha in Pakistan, mostly in technology. And then I also got into project and technology management. Subsequently, I moved to Dubai, and I was an EVP in Mashreq Bank, Dubai. I managed some of the largest projects in Mashreq Bank. In between, I briefly worked for Dubai government, obviously the same project management and technology management role in Dubai government. And then finally, I ended up in National Bank of Oman as the divisional head PMO and digital transformation. This is where I realized that, probably my capabilities are not fully utilized, while working within the organization. So I started in my own company, and that's how I got into entrepreneurship. I wanted to do something different, and Alhamdulillah, I'm able to do a lot of things differently.
Right, sir. So what exactly does your role at Enum Digital entail? Okay. What is the problem that you're trying to address?
So I started with Xpert Digital, that's our flagship company, back in 2018. And subsequently I started Enum Technology Solutions and Enum Digital. So all these three companies are addressing different problems in the market. So let me give you some brief of what's happening worldwide. So most of the industries have already been transformed. Either they have been replaced or they have changed. For example, you don't see the typical taxi business nowadays. It has been taken away by Cream and Uber-like companies. Amazon has actually, taken over a lot of business from other industries, and they're already dead. Considering, banking, it was already late in the digital party. And why it is still surviving today is because it's a highly regulated and protected industry because of obvious reasons. But now, or we have already seen that, other industries are getting into financial services, for example, telco, and they are trying to grab bank share through offering digital financial services. So I felt that there's gonna be a huge demand, and there is a demand of digital banking, and that's how I started these companies to address the transformation needs of financial industry.
Right, makes sense. Yeah. Now, sir, let's talk a little bit about your experiences with regards to being in the Middle East and also having that international exposure. How will the advent and advances in technology affect the future of businesses in the Middle East, and especially in the context of Pakistan?
Yeah, I think these are mostly developing economies where, it was like going traditionally. But during COVID, what we have seen is that people have actually tasted digital. If I give you an example, for example, it was very difficult to convince people to use digital banking or mobile apps for doing transactions. People were afraid. They felt that it's not secure. Their data is going to go to somebody else, or they'll do a mistake. So what we saw was that, almost all the customers, they moved to digital. Now, once a customer experiences the digital or the taste of digital, it's very difficult for them to go back to traditional banking, for example, going to a branch, wasting half a day just to conduct a single transaction. Similarly, we have also seen that travel industry now that it's gearing up, and but people are more comfortable, convenient to book tickets online, hotels online. So what I see is that now businesses are getting replaced with digital businesses, and I see that in next for example 2 to 5 years, probably you will see a lot of traditional businesses dying, which will be replaced by technology or fintechs.
Right. Makes sense. Absolutely. What are some of the other areas in which you think digitization will occur, like perhaps the health sector, insurance? We've seen a boom in insurtech in the past couple of. What are perhaps some of the other industries which you see a heavy digital impact on?
Firstly, I see that banking is and financial services, to be specific, is still not yet there. I think still especially in Pakistan, if you consider, you still have banks with like 1,000 branches, 1,500 branches, which are
obviously, sir, because with all due respect, we are a cash-rich economy even right now.
Yes, there are certain reasons for being cash-based, and one of the main reason is maybe taxation. Probably people don't want to, but this is what I'm trying to say, that there's a huge potential in financial industry. The moment you put everything into digital, first you can tax them properly based on their profitability or revenues, and secondly, it also helps the country in terms of maintenance. For example, the central bank spends a lot of money in printing notes, for example, right? That can be completely eliminated. The cost can be saved. Right?
Right. Absolutely.
So one is, I still feel that it's just the start of transformation in financial industry. We are still far away, from full digital banks, even in Middle East and Pakistan. Although the banks have started doing it, but it will take some time for banks to adopt and for the customers also to adopt. So financial industry is one where I see a huge potential in terms of digital transformation, and which includes your BFSI, banks, financial services, and insurance. Other than that, we have also seen that in healthcare, people have started taking consultation online. There are few startups that I see that are doing really well, especially in areas where psychological or psychometric sort of a thing is required. That is getting automated through digitalization.
Yeah, absolutely. And also we see a lot of biometric technology taking over in terms of, even if we talk about security, government in terms of their processes like public offices, if we need any passport renewals, if we need to go through immigration at airports, we see that there's a lot of advancement in facial biometric recognition or generally. So now we discussed about how technology will impact businesses, but let's talk a little about the workforce. So what are the skills that you would advise mid-career professionals to gain in order to make them future ready?
Okay. Specifically to mid-level people who are on the mid-level of their career, my suggestion would be to focus on communication and management skills. Typically, what I tell people is that learning technology is not difficult. We are not trying to create a NASA satellite here or something which is impossible to create. Technology is not very difficult. The most difficult thing is how you manage the technology so that business can leverage that technology, right? So my advice is always that learn management, learn communication. It's of utmost importance in technology. I think we do have a lot of technologists in the industry, but we are seriously lacking the management and the people with good communication.
Right, sir. Now moving on, let's talk a little bit about your own personal professional journey. I'm sure you've seen a couple of losses. What have you learned from your losses so far?
Fortunately, so far, after becoming an entrepreneur since 2018, no significant losses that I've experienced. Yes, a lot of setbacks, small failures, but I take failures very positively. What I tell normally people is that, failure teaches you that, how not to do a particular thing in a particular way. And in my opinion, there is nothing called failure. It's actually try again, right?
Right, sir.
So yeah, that's Alhamdulillah, so far, probably nothing very serious that I have encountered in my entrepreneurship role.
Great to know. Great to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another interesting question. What is that one thing about you that we cannot otherwise figure out from your LinkedIn profile? Must be like some interesting facts.
Yeah, actually, I keep my professional life to LinkedIn and I keep my personal life to Facebook. I'm still old school. I have not migrated to Instagram so far. But what you cannot figure out is that I have a very pathetic nature. So I'm a travel freak. I love to travel around the world. I have like covered a lot of countries so far. I love to talk to people with different cultures, learn their culture, learn their attitude, learn their, approach towards life. So this is something which probably you'll not find on LinkedIn.
Right. Any other particular hobby that you're fond of?
Yeah, I'm a great swimmer. I like
Oh,
to
wow,
swim.
lovely. I'm sure the audience did not know.
Yeah, and I also like I'm a very hungry guy from a learning perspective. Most of the time I don't shockingly I don't read books, by the way. I don't read traditional paper books. But I do read a lot of articles, a lot of research articles, a lot of ebooks, and that's how I grow my learning every day. So I have also a goal, like, today I have to learn something new. I have to try something new. I have to do the same thing differently.
Right. Sir, moving on,
Yeah.
is there any piece of advice that perhaps you received from a mentor or, any senior back in the day that still proves useful for you?
Yeah, actually during my entire career as an successful employee, I worked with different people from different regions. Some were South Africans, some were Americans. They all come from different culture and different advices. I think, what I tell people is that, number one, nothing is impossible, right? Don't try to quit things feeling that it cannot happen. Nothing is impossible, right? Especially in IT, I tell them that nothing is impossible, just a matter of time and money. Take more time, put more money, and you will get what you want. This is very important. The second thing is people normally talk about thinking out of the box, right? So that's what I feel that, they have to think innovative. They have to work innovatively. I strongly believe that if you cannot do different things, do the same thing differently, right? So, and the lastly, I strongly believe in quality. So whatever you are doing, you do in a very quality manner. I have a saying that do it right first time. I mean, don't try to do, quick work and later on you will improve. You will never improve that. So these are the few, you can say management principles that I actually, learn from my mentors and I actually tell my people who are working with me.
Right. Sir, now, building up on that, what do
Yeah.
you think is the one most important quality for a founder?
Consistency. I think that's, probably very, very important because, you know, you don't get results overnight. You have to continuously try, work hard. If it is not working out for you, try differently, but be consistent. Consistency is one thing probably that will eventually give you success.
Right. Sir, thank you so much for joining us today and for contributing to the knowledge economy. It was an honor and a privilege listening to you. Before I let you off, I would like to ask you one last question. What do you think is the utility of forums like CxO Global, and what is the impact that being a part of CxO Global has had on you?
See, one of the deficiency I see, is sharing of important information and experiences. For a fact, I know I met a guy who was a chief failure officer in, the institute's name was, Institute of Brilliant Failures. I met him in Spain.
Oh, wow.
People, yeah. So it was actually a shocking thing for me. Like, there's an institute called, Institute of Brilliant Failures. So I think these sort of forums are of, utmost value, in terms of learning, in terms of sharing the experiences, in terms of mentoring and, giving some direction to leaders who are aspiring to become leaders, for example. So these forums are very, very, critical and important for the society. So for example, if I have experienced something and I have lost, a lot of things, while doing a particular thing in a particular way, why should other people go through the same path?
Right.
I can share my learnings with them so that they will start from where I have actually, I took like a lot of time to learn that. I can pass on those learnings immediately to other peers.
Right. Absolutely. Sir, thank you so much for all that you shared with us today.
Thank you, Anza.
We hope to hear more from you in the future.
Thank you, Anza. Thank you for calling me here. It was very nice talking to you on this forum.
Thank you very much. And that will be all for today. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep us updated with your comments and feedback. They're very important to us. And if you want to learn how to be a part of CxO Global Forum, please log on to www.cxoforum.global. And we will definitely see you next time with another very interesting guest. Until then, it's me signing off. Take care of yourselves.
Thank you. Take care.